Why has the Modi government failed to protect Manipur? He has RAW, IB, NIA, full majority in parliament. Still, it's burning for the past 1 year. And Twinkle Pai says that he won't answer this question LMAO. Okay. And Purushottam Jaswani says, what do you think could be the reason for the government not taking completely control of Manipur, even after the military has entered Manipur for a long time, since a long time now? Is the military finding it hard to handle infiltrators? Is Manipur becoming the new Kashmir? Okay, pretty complicated matter. First of all, I am taking the question. Now let's take a look at the region, the far east of India, Manipur, where it is. Okay, uh, that's the region. Okay, I'll take it off screen for some time. The first question is, why has the government of India, the Modi government, not taken complete control of Manipur? So, is that true? Is the government not in complete control of Manipur? Probably it's true. I think half of Manipur is overrun by Kuki infiltrators, and wherever the Kukis are, I don't think the government of India has complete control over those regions. Uh, it's a mess. And do one does we does one blame Modi for this? Well, at the end of the day, he's the prime minister, and the buck stops with him, so he has to be blamed. Yes, but who's actually messed up over here? I think there's multiple levels of failure. First of all, in what's happened thus far, uh, intelligence failure for sure. Did they not see this coming? Hundreds of thousands of illegal infiltrators crossing into India. It's been happening for decades. I understand, but a lot has happened apparently in the past decade or so. Also, it's been continuing because of the open borders. Now, even if they knew that this is happening, fencing that border will take years. Okay, and there was this agreement between India and Burma before the civil war broke out. So maybe it would have seemed that these people who are crossing over the border will go back because that's the general pattern of movement. But it did not happen, and they settled down in Manipur. And more than half of Manipur, the southern part of Manipur, has been overrun by the foreign infiltrators and terrorists. So there is an intelligence failure for sure. There's also a failure on the part of the whoever has been advising the Modi government about the Far East region, about the Manipur region, because most central governments don't know much about the Far East of India, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, etc. They don't know anything about this region, very far-flung area, and the people are hardly visible. So who cares? Kind of like that. So you need subject matter experts and people who have apparently an expertise in the region. So I wonder who the experts were. Okay, who have been advising the Modi government about Manipur. Those experts, they have messed up royally. Okay, they essentially have led the government up the wrong tree. And there are other organizations who are trying to involve all stakeholders. I mean, are foreign infiltrator terrorists stakeholders in India? Really? I'll not even name the organization, but all that is going on even now. Uh, so that's what's happened. The illegal infiltration has been happening for decades. Many of these foreigners were settled by successive Indian governments in the 20th century, also continuing the policy of the British, settling foreigners on Indian soil. What kind of imbecilic policy is that? But that's what the successive Indian governments did in the 20th century. And we've had this open border policy with Burma because Burma has historically been a friendly nation, which it is. Let's see what it has resulted in when the open border policy was weaponized against us. Now, there is foreign involvement in the region without a doubt. So, the Burmese government has historically been kind of pro China, but the US has got involved in the past 20 years in a very major way, especially during the Barack Obama regime. Uh, so let's not go into the whole story of that, but there is significant American involvement in Burma. Baptist missionaries are very active there. All the Cookies are a non-Burmese tribe, ethnic group. They don't speak the Burmese language. They don't practice Burmese culture. They don't respect Burmese customs. Nothing. They are foreign to Burma also. They've come in from further east into Burma a few centuries ago, like 2, 3 centuries ago, probably from Yunnan in China or thereabouts. Uh, So this understanding has to be there in the experts who are advising the government. Clearly, they were clueless, these so called experts. Uh, I'm not naming any particular person. There are some experts who are genuinely respect. Okay, not all, but well, you get the drift. Um, so there is that. Now, what what happens? So now, what about the military? Look, the military. First of all, we have to understand there have been paramilitary forces in the far east of India and Manipur for a very long time. There is some, to some extent, some involvement of the actual Indian military, which is the Indian army, which is not paramilitary force. Paramilitary forces are police forces. The Assam Rifles are a police force. They're a paramilitary force. So is the CRPF. Now the Assam Rifles are being shifted out of Manipur for good reason. And that also the government probably did not see coming. Okay, when it comes to the Assam Rifles, what had to be done and what was going on. I'll not go into further details, but yeah, the Assam Rifles are, it looks like they are being moved out of Manipur, and the CRPF is being brought in. And the Indian military, the actual armed forces, the military is also there in certain numbers. We'll not go into those numbers. Now, how do we deal with foreign infiltrators? The moment you try and move them out or whatever, they have essentially unlimited supplies of arms and ammunition. Okay, these cookie terrorists, where are they getting them from? From Burma. But Burma is in civil war. So where are those factions fighting the civil war getting the arms and ammunition from? The government would probably get supplies from China. But what about others? How come incredibly sophisticated Sig Sauer and whatever arms and ammunition are available to the terrorists? How come they have access to drones? Imagine drone bombing on the capital city of an Indian state. That's what's happening. So it's a disastrous situation, no doubt. The military, Indian armed forces are in place, not for, well, they are there for other reasons. Um, when it comes to the terrorists, the infiltrators, they will have to be dealt with by the paramilitary forces in whatever way is appropriate. National interest must come first, obviously, right? And just because somebody is holding an Aadhaar card or whatever doesn't make them a citizen. That's what happens typically. So it's a very complicated situation. I should not even discuss it in great depth, but understand this. This I will say. Uh, let's put the map back on the screen, and you will understand why I refer to the map. The solution to this problem. Remember Kashmir? Remember the Pakistani terrorism in Kashmir? Here's Kashmir. Where was the solution? Where is the solution to the terrorism that has happened in Kashmir? The solution is not in Kashmir. The solution is west of the border in Pakistan. Right? That's where the root cause is, and that's where the solution lies. Otherwise, you're simply reacting to what's happening on your territory without addressing the problem, the root of the problem, which is outside your territory. Similarly, when it comes to Manipur, the solution is outside of Manipur. It's east of Manipur. And that's where the problem will be solved whenever it is solved. How long will it take? It depends on a multitude of factors. Now, here's the deal. You have obviously spoken about Prime Minister Modi. The Modi government has failed, and so on, which is true thus far. And do you realize that this makes Prime Minister Modi look very weak? It does. Whenever Mr. Modi says something on Twitter, tweets something, people say, "What about Manipur? What about Manipur? What happened to the 56-inch chest?" True, right? That is a genuine question, and question that, well, the government is keeping quiet on for whatever reason right now. Now, understand this. This has dented Mr. Modi's image, and he can't afford this to happen. So, solution will come. Rest assured. And when it comes, when the hammer falls, it'll fall hard. But there are certain other factors that need to be hammered out before the hammer falls on the terrorists. And those factors are currently being looked at right now. What will happen, or what should happen, is India needs to engage with another aligned nation in this. Strangely aligned, but aligned. And some kind of joint venture will have to be done to resolve the Burma problem in such a way that the actual root cause of the terrorism, which is far away from the region, can't do a thing about it. So, what's the root cause of the terrorism that's happening? The cookies are the symptom, right? They have been empowered by somebody and armed by somebody. That's the root cause. So the problem will have to be solved in such a way that the root cause is is rendered important in this region. So it's going to have to be a joint venture between India and another aligned country, and the action will be outside of India. That's how I see the solution being brought about. But Mr. Modi knows that he can't afford to be inactive on this front for too long. It's already been more than a year. The entire mayhem started in May last year, apparently out of nowhere. The government is completely caught unawares. Big failure for sure. But now the solution is to be found. Uh, the indigenous people of a state who have been staying there for 2000 plus years are suffering. Terrorists are raining bombs from drones on the capital city of a state in India. And right now, the government of India looks very weak and helpless. And this can't continue. So the Indian military does exist. It is there. It needs a certain kind of go ahead at a certain point in time. And I hope it happens sooner rather than later, because it's already very late.